Dennis, when he was like, I need a vacation, I was like, I know we be feeling like we need a vacation, but hey, okay, you guys, so our guest is here. Add them on. I'm not downing Braun. Hey!
Hey.
I was like scared. I was like, I couldn't hear you for a second. I was like, no, no Teddy Riley.
Oh, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
You look very cute, very cute. I saw you on
Hi.
the gram. I was like, okay, a little white lace.
I know, we're both wearing white.
Yes, holy, holy vibes, holy vibes.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm
How's like
good.
the adjustment of the work from home life?
It's not bad because I'm kind of working the same schedule that I normally work. I get up at the same time and I'm done around the same time every day. So I still have like a full work day. Uh, so during the week, like not too much has changed. I don't really do anything during the week except for work or work out anyway. So I mean, I know we're all dying to get back in the gym because we went every day, but
Exactly. I feel like it's the opposite. Like I was watching Marcel's Wiley's live and he was saying people that were in the gym before this are like taking a break. And then the people that weren't in the gym are like, I need to like get going.
I mean, you can still run outside most
Yeah,
places.
just
So
distance, just safely distance.
yeah, I've just been running and walking and, doing, homework. I haven't been doing that much, but the point is, mostly I'm good. It hasn't changed too much. So I think I'm hoping we're getting to the home stretch of this thing,
Exactly.
but we'll see. How are you
So
doing?
I'm doing good. Honestly, I'm like in my mind, I'm like starting May, I'm gonna get back on my workout regimen. But right now it's pasta and Last Dance and Netflix.
Just
Okay, so
finish
you
April out strong. April was not our month.
exactly like you know what? Like might as well. It was okay. This is before we get into the Last Dance. So I ordered Cheesecake Factory. The whole point of me ordering this was for this raspberry cheesecake that I love, right? I forgot to put the cheesecake in the order. This is how big I was. I was like, I'm ordering this again. I literally put in a second order just to get the cheesecake. And I was like, it was worth every penny of the Postmates because I was like, this is the whole point. You gotta like keep yourself happy in quarantine.
I've done the exact same thing. Not for cheesecake, but like there was something that I wanted and I didn't get it, so I just ordered from the same place twice.
It's like
I
life
was
is
hoping they bring it
short.
all
Like
together.
you gotta get what you want out here.
Yeah. We're looking for the
Okay,
small wins right now.
exactly. Okay, so I already know that you're a huge Jordan fan. You have like the Jordan in your house. What did you think about episode 3 and 4? What have you thought about The Last Dance so far?
I think it's been amazing. It's pretty incredible that they have the footage to begin with. Like when I was watching it last night, I was thinking that like it's unbelievable that we have footage of them on the plane and it's not just reenactments or just them talking about what happened. Like we can literally see the video of them on the team plane and in the training room. But that's unbelievable that we have the footage of that they had the foresight to record and keep all of this footage. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like we just found out today that there's footage, in-depth footage of Kobe's last year
Mm-hmm. I heard
in
about that
in the
too.
NBA. Now there's no guarantee that we're going to get that documentary, obviously, but just the fact that that exists and there's a possibility of us getting that. I think people have been a bit hesitant. Like the Warriors did not do this for their dynasty run or whatever. They didn't want cameras to this level. Obviously, we have the game footage and pre-game and whatever, but no training room, no locker room access, no behind the scenes footage, no practices. So we're not going to get that because the footage doesn't exist. So
Yeah.
the biggest thing to me is like, wow, we're really actually getting to experience this and see a side of this. Like even if you remember it, if you live through it, or if you've never known anything about the Bulls dynasty, like you're that young, it's just amazing that we can all experience it. Because even people who were there to watch all of it didn't know or get to see this footage. So it's
I
incredible.
didn't realize, like, I just didn't know because the Bulls dynasty is like a little bit before my sports time. I didn't realize how contentious it was. And I'm like, I couldn't imagine going into a season. I won 5 rings, and you're telling me, like, no way, no how you could win all these games and, like, you're out. And, like, the tension going on internally, but the fact that, like, they were just, and all the kind of moving parts and personalities, and the fact that they were just kind of able to push everything to the side and really like still compete for a championship and ultimately win. I'm just like, I'm blown away of like, I knew Michael Jordan was like the GOAT and I knew he was this amazing player. But when you see some of this footage and you're like, I don't even see guys today doing anything kind of like similar to giving me this vibe and this energy, and like the way he was just at will with it. It's like, I'm like, I've never seen anything like this.
You have to be wired that way, right? And you can't make someone into a competitive person. You can't create that kind of drive and energy and like relentless motivation. You can find people who really want to work hard, and you can find people who really want to be successful, but that mentality is a specific kind of personality. And so aside from the fact that obviously these guys were incredible players and very athletic, they all, even with their very diverse amount of personalities, the one thing they all had in common is they don't like to lose at all. Like, I don't like to play games that we're just playing for fun. Like, if we're going to play volleyball on the beach, like, what are the teams? What are the rules? Where's the outside, where's out of bounds? Like, I need to know, like, we're winning and losing here. We're not just playing, I'm just hitting the ball around for fun. Are you like the
person spiking in people's faces, like children's
faces?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to just play for fun. What is that? I'd rather just lay there and not do anything. You have to be wired that way. And that's like Rodman, completely different than Pippen, completely different than Jordan, but they all had the same mentality of like, no matter what, we have to win. And that's what creates those kind of dynasties. Like when you talk to Tom Brady, he just started a production company, right? Like, what did he call it? 199, because that was his draft position. He's wired that way. Like, everything about him is like, I just want to win. I just want to win. Everything is about winning. And so that's why despite all of that contention and Jerry Krause and everything that was going on, that mentality keeps you together.
What did you think when Dennis Rodman was like, I need a vacation? Like, do you think anybody in like the NBA today or like sports today could do that and like that would fly? Or was that just like something so like unique to that situation where they're like, all right, let Dennis do his thing?
I think, yeah. I mean, people, get rest days and stuff. It's a long season, but they're a little more low key about it. Yeah. Dennis Rodman is not a low key person. I mean, taking a day off during a long season and going and partying with Carmen Electra for 5 days in Vegas there's a bit of some extremes there, right? Like, you get a rest day to chill out, and then you go to Vegas for, a week. It's in the middle of the season where everybody can see you and everybody knows you're in Vegas, and it's very easy to, give a call back to Chicago. Like, all the reporters know, but it's just a different time. I mean, the whole Rodman experience would never happen again. The saturation of media coverage, if you look at the media scrums that they had in The Last Dance, right? That would be 10 times that, because you have social media reporters, you have a whole bunch of international reporters, you have so many news outlets that cover sports now, and just not even just sports news. You have big news, like every outlet is covering these guys. So it just would never happen. Like, Rodman walking out of the game every day with a Miller Lite, I mean, he'd be pushed out of the league. It just doesn't matter like what his skill level was. It would never happen. Like, the media coverage, him being in Vegas, someone would have video of what he's doing. It would be all over the internet. It just would never work.
I think the thing that I did like that I've seen so far in the doc, especially with Rodman, because I feel like Rodman, anybody that's a little eccentric or different, I think people just kind of cast away. So I think it's cool within the doc how they're showing like, yeah, he was different and eccentric and had like the different hair and was doing his thing, but like he really studied the game. Like, he really perfected his craft in like anticipation and just all this stuff. So I think that's cool that people maybe in like my generation, they hear Dennis Rodman and they're like, oh, the crazy hair and like this guy. It's like, no, like he was a really like one of the top probably defensive players you could argue in that era, maybe ever, so it's like, I think that's cool about docs like this, where you actually kind of see more of like the player and the person and what really went into it, because guys like Michael, you know, like they train, you know, their, you know, mindset, but to see some, and I mean, I've always heard Phil was Zen, but I was like, oh, he's Zen, like he's really like.
No, I mean, that's why I'm always very supportive, within reason, obviously, but supportive of personalities, because the idea that you have to be a certain way to be successful it's not true. And people love personalities when it serves them, when it gives them something to talk about, when it gives them content. But then as soon as, that personality does something that personalities do, then like we crucify them, right? Like that's why I'm a big supporter of Cam Newton, because he's a big personality and he's in no way Dennis Rodman, but like, look what he's going through. I love Russell Westbrook. Like you have to have dynamic personalities to have balance. Everybody can't be the same. Yeah. So, I mean, Rodman was obviously a very unique player and a unique personality. And you got to see that, he didn't just come into the league with pink hair and, cheetah print pants. Yeah. Like he became or just expanded into that personality. I mean, he had a very hard life, and then he got with the bad boy Pistons and just dove headfirst into whatever it is, his freedom, or after the suicidal incident, he just kind of let go. But he also played in a time where the media coverage was just a whole different ballgame. It would not, no pun intended, but it just it wouldn't happen that way today. It had to happen when it did, and I don't think it would. I don't think that a coach would take the hits for a player like that today, and I don't think that the media would allow a personality like that. And it's not that people weren't critical. He was very controversial, so it's not like he just walked in like, oh yeah, we all love Rodman. No, he was very controversial, and coming from the Pistons to the Bulls, where they hated the Pistons, they hated each other. So it's not that it wasn't controversial, but just it would be so controversial that the media and probably fans would never allow it to happen.
So has watching this doc, because obviously you were a big Jordan fan coming in, like, have you become more of a fan? How do you feel about Jordan so far? Has there been anything like groundbreaking, earth-shattering that's kind of like changed your opinion, anything like that?
Not really. I mean, I obviously we're all learning new things about him and about, his personality and, I guess more vulnerability. But to me, it's just a good reminder. I mean, it's kind of why I have Jordan up, and I have Ali, and I have Whitney and Prince, and Tupac and Freddie Mercury. I admire greatness and what it takes to get to that point. So what I'm enjoying is watching, not only the triumphs obviously that they had, but you have to work through things. There's a process to everything, and I like the process. And I think that is I like seeing okay, something that I do is something that or I work on, or I aspire to be, is the same process that these greats did. And it is about the process. We joke, trust the process, blah blah blah, whatever. Okay, but there really is a process to everything. You have to earn your way up. You have to gotta taste the pain before the champagne, or whatever. Yeah. But you have to earn your way up, because once you get to that point, what it took to get there, what you have to do to maintain it, and you appreciate it more. So to me, I like watching and experiencing what these greats did to get there, what they had to go through, the other greats they had to beat, their experiences, and how hard it was, because that just it's motivating, especially right now. Everyone's feeling down and concerned and has anxiety. It's they weren't going through this, obviously, but it's just a good reminder. Don't get stuck in the sludge. You know what I mean? You have to keep going. So to me, I'm enjoying the stories, obviously, and it's nice to go back to that space and relive it and experience it. And I'm 33 years old, so it's not you know, I'm am I 33 or 34? I don't know. I can't remember. I'm in my mid 30s. I'm getting old. I can't remember how old I am. This happens.
Your age
really
are like
happens.
wine out here.
Yeah. Well, thanks, but I don't know. I'm around that age. I don't know. Google it. But you know, he was in the league when I was born. So, you know, I experienced these last years, or the years that I remember of Jordan in the, you know, the second three-peat. So, yeah, but that's what I like watching about in these documentaries and looking for, is that, like, that tie that all the greats have together.
I think too, like you said, that kind of, that it is a process and trusting the process. And I mean, when you start with the start of their dynasty, where they had to obviously go through the bad boys and get beat up. And I think it's just like a good metaphor for life, because it's like sometimes life's going to kick your ass. Like sometimes you're going to have to go in the weight room and put on weight and get mentally stronger, spiritually, whatever you need to do, and like come back swinging. And so I think it's cool, because I think now when we talk about them, we're always like 6-0, 6-0, 6-0. But I don't think people really realize, like, in order to not only get to the first one, but to get to the sixth one, like, to once you do make it, and I feel like you can speak on this more too, is like, there's like a saying, like, the greatest threat to your future success is your current success, because it's really easy once you finally break through. It's like, okay, I just wanted to get this, and it's like, no, now we have to like keep going, keep building, keep achieving. And I think that's what's so cool about seeing like this Last Dance, where it's like they had so many excuses to be like, look, we're having issues with the GM, everybody's a little all over the place, Scotty's out, Jordan's got to do everything. Like, they had every excuse to kind of pack it in, so to speak. So the fact that they were like, no, like, we're still dominating, we're not giving anybody an inch, I just think, like you said, speaks to that greatness that I think we all desire to have, but so few of us can actually execute, you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think it's in you, or it's not in you. Like, that was in Jordan when he was a baby. You know what I mean? Like, that was wired in his personality and how he was designed to be that kind of competitor. Like, he wanted his dad's attention, and then he didn't make the varsity team, and then, you know, he wanted to be the best college player ever and the best basketball player ever, and told his college coach that he wanted to be the greatest ever. And like, we say that a lot. Oh, like, he's the GOAT, she's the GOAT, whatever. Like, we just kind of say it. But to be the best at what you do, like, better than anyone who's ever done it or ever will do it, is a special thing that can't be, I mean, it can be imitated, obviously. Like, we all want to imitate greats, but it can't be duplicated. And that's okay too. Like, I don't think you should not aspire to be the greatest just because you may never be Michael Jordan. I think there was a special formula that created what Michael Jordan is. Michael Jordan was really the first big, like, culture brands. And we're going to see that in the next 2 episodes. And you heard Adam Silver talking about it, like the marketing. And, you know, Magic and Bird were big, but Jordan took it to another level. And obviously we know the businessman that Magic has become, but he really was like a superstar in a time when superstars were like demigods. They were untouchable. They didn't have Instagram. They didn't have Twitter and Facebook and
Even
Snapchat.
Like sports back then. Like, I mean, I think today we think of sports and like how like sports figures are kind of up there with like actors and musicians known wise, but it's like back then it was like a couple few, like most of the people, it was like they were just like players, so to speak, and if you followed the team you knew them. But it wasn't like how it is today, where it's like you could be on like the worst team, but if you have like a big following, people still know you, you know?
Right. So that made him more of a superstar. You had to be in front of the TV at that moment to see him play. Like, I used to rewatch VHS tapes of Jordan's games. Like, it's just a different time now. There's so much access, and you can be a celebrity at so many different things. You can be a YouTube star, you can be a TikTok star, you know, you can be a reality television show star. You know, you don't have to be a Marilyn Monroe. Like, it was just a different time. Like, the hero worship of superstars was just on a different level. I'm not saying that people don't still obsess, because they definitely do, but I just think that kind of like iconic mythology doesn't really exist anymore. Like, even everybody has constant criticism, no matter what kind of star you are. And not that they didn't because you heard Jordan talking about like, oh, the, you know, reporters didn't think that they could beat the Pistons, and like, you know, he told them all to go home and all of that. They did have criticism, but they didn't have the mythology. Like they have the mythology now that, I think that players and stars don't have anymore.
It was so less accessible then. I think that's the thing too.
Right.
That it's like, you know, now it's like I can wake up and go on LeBron's Instagram and see what him and like Bronny and Savannah are doing. Like back then, it's like if I wanted to see you, I either had to like wait for the TV, or I had to like, you know, like when you saw, when I think they had their episode 1 where they went overseas, and like the amount of pandemonium going on, it's like you don't really see that as much anymore because everything is so accessible. And I kind of miss that a little bit because I just think it was like so much more special because it was, you know, it was just not all the way out there, you know?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you just feel like you can reach out and like touch people. Even if you can't, you may never meet these people, but you feel like you kind of know them. Like you see the insides of their houses, you know what their kids look like and their best friends' names. And it's just a different world. Because we didn't have that access to stars like Michael Jordan, created this mythology of like, oh my God, it's Michael Jordan. And like he was the greatest, but that also adds something to it. So
I remember, the total sidebar, I remember, I don't know who you were talking to, but I remember your Jordan story of like how you met Jordan and your brother like totally acts like you doing a shot with Jordan.
Yeah, so what happened was, so Jason had a Jordan contract for a while when he was playing. So he was signed to Jordan. So he would get, you know, like the Jordan shoes, and they would send him a bunch of clothes and stuff. And he was friends with Michael. I mean, still is, but like, you know, he was golfing with him and stuff. So Jordan had his annual golf tournament, and it was in the Bahamas at Atlantis. So it was my 21st birthday, and Jay brought me down to the golf tournament with him. And I was like, look, and he was golfing with Michael. So I was like, look, if you don't introduce me to Michael Jordan, I'm going to like disown you. I'm not going to talk to you anymore, because like there's just no excuse now. Like Michael's going to be here and you're golfing with him. So I need to meet Michael Jordan, and that's all there is to it. I don't hear anything about it. Like I must meet Michael. You know what Michael means to me. And it was always like this competition with us, because obviously like he knows Michael. So like, you know, Michael leaves a voicemail on his phone and he'll like play it for me. And I'm like, unfair. So anyway, Michael walks into the restaurant that we're in, the first night I'm there. And I'm like, look, Michael's here, like, let's go. And mind you, I'm super nervous, obviously, but like I also like need to take advantage of this moment and meet Michael Jordan.
Exactly.
So we walk over, and he's like talking to him a little bit, and he's like, this is my sister Joy, Michael. And he's like, oh, like, hi, nice to meet you. And you know, I'm like, Michael, oh my God. I'm like trying to be cool, like, hi.
Yeah, try to play it off, but like inside you're like
dying, right? And so he's like, it's her 21st birthday today. And he's like, oh, happy birthday. Like, that's so awesome. Like, thanks for being here. He's like, let's go do a shot. I'm like, hell yeah, let's go do a shot right now. He's like, what do you like? You like tequila? I'm like, yes. At the time, I did not drink tequila. Like, yes, I'll totally do a shot of tequila with Michael Jordan. Like, what a great story.
Like,
I got to do.
I don't care.
Right. I'm going to do, I'll take a shot of Rumplemints. I'm doing a shot with Michael Jordan on my 21st birthday. Like, that's the coolest thing ever. Amazing. And Jason was like, no. I was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? It was like a movie. Like, what? No, like, let's go. Well, come on. We're going to do a shot with Michael. And he was like, no, like, we got to go back to dinner. Like, thanks, Mike. Like, and he was like, all right, well, like, you know, maybe another time. Like, you killed my moment. I get to do a shot with Michael Jordan on my birthday. So I've never forgiven him for it, but yeah, that was my meeting Michael Jordan. But then like all weekends, you know, like he's like playing poker and like, you know, walking around being Michael Jordan, and you just can't, like, it's Michael Jordan. Like, you're just like, you can't believe you're in the vicinity of Michael Jordan. But yeah, I mean, because that's the kind of star he is. Like, I can't relate to like another person.
Did it live up to your like when you saw him in person, did it live up to your expectation of like this like build up? You're like, oh my gosh, like
yeah, because it's Michael Jordan. Like, there's just certain people that carry that kind of gravitas. Like the first time I met Dan Marino, I'm like, or Junior Seau, like there's people, but they're all kind of from that era where I'm talking about. Like you watch them play on television, on your tiny little television with like your clicky thing, you know, because the remote, you have remotes, and like, you know, you're moving your, you know, antenna around. You know, these are the people that like molded who you are. And yeah, so to meet them, it's like, I mean, then eventually, like, you know, I've been around Dan for a long time, so, but still, every time I see Dan Marino, I'm like, yeah, that's
Dan Marino.
And he has that kind of energy too. Like they have a certain energy.
So speaking of Dolphins quarterbacks, okay, so I know you were doing some stuff with Caffeine. So shout out also to your show on Caffeine. If you guys don't watch Joy Chat, it's popping. So I know you probably couldn't give your like full reaction because you were still on air. But like when you knew for sure they were taking Tua, what went through your mind?
Well, once the trade up for Burrow didn't happen, you know, because I was holding out hope to the last second.
You've been big on Burrow. You've been big on Burrow for like a while.
Yeah, I love Burrow. I was on Burrow before Tua got hurt. But I'm happy that the Dolphins made that move. One, because they were obviously a space ahead of the Chargers, so we know that's who they really wanted was Tua. Because if they wanted Herbert, they could take Herbert. I wasn't sure, to be honest with you. I wasn't sure whether they were going to take Herbert or Tua. But I trust Flores and the GM Chris Greer. I like all the moves that they made this offseason. I really like their draft. They took a lot of linemen, which is how you build your team. Like you get your guy and then you protect him, and then you get guys who can get the other team's guy. So I like the moves that they made. Obviously, we're not going to know what any of these draft picks are going to become for a while. And I think especially this year, at least me personally, I'm going to give teams, you know, a little bit of wiggle room to evaluate what these, you know, prospects are going to become, because everyone's a little bit behind the curve right now with everything that's going on. But I think Tua is super talented. I think he's more talented than Justin Herbert. My question with Tua has always been the injuries. It makes me nervous. It's concerning, but I think that this year, however long this is going to last, I don't know, because I don't think that Ryan Fitzpatrick is a year-long quarterback. But it's just going to depend on how long he can sit. I don't think they're going to start him right away, which I like, because I think he needs more time. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I personally would feel like it would be a better situation for him to have more time before getting thrown out there. Now, Joe Burrow needs to start right away. Like, you're the number 1 overall pick. It's the same way I felt about Baker Mayfield. You're the number 1 overall pick. You need to start right away. You don't need time. You're the number 1 overall pick for a reason. Now, was that necessarily the right move for Baker? Probably not. They probably should have kept Tyrod and started him for the entire year if they were going to go with him. But, you know, Baker's a completely other situation. I like the move for the Dolphins. I'm excited to see what Tua is going to do. I truly hope he's the guy, and I'm behind it. And because they went for it, like they took that chance on him, and I think you had to take that chance. I think if the Chargers had traded up for him and they've taken Herbert, I would have been cool with that too. But I do think that Tua is way more talented than Herbert. Yeah. And I think the Herbert situation is good for the Chargers also, because he's going to get to sit behind Tyrod, who is a great pro and has not had really the opportunity to have a team, and he's not really going to now. But yeah, I think it's a great situation for both those teams. And what I love the most about that pick is they didn't have to move at all. They stayed right where they were at 5. They didn't have to trade up. Yeah, because I really thought they were going to trade up to 3. I thought the Chargers or Miami was going to trade up to the 3rd spot with the Lions. But the Lions said they never got a firm offer. So the fact that they didn't have to give up any other picks to get Tua, I mean, that's the best case scenario you could have asked for. Because if had Tua not gotten hurt, the conversation about him, probably. I mean, I don't know if the Bengals still go with Burrow because he's an Ohio kid and he's bigger. Who knows? But he definitely.
I just think it's such a good. Like, there's just certain players that just feel right in the situation, and that's how I always felt.
Fit definitely matters
with Miami. And I was just like, it's so funny because I had my reaction video and everybody's like, I didn't know you were a Dolphin. I'm like, I can't root for the underdog. Like, this dude, everybody has been calling him like gingerly and like he's like about to snap. And the thing I like about Tua is you got to have the right kind of moxie to, going back to when he first came on the scene, to go into the national championship and win the game in that situation. And he's been successful at all his levels. So I like Tua, and the injury thing, it's like, I understand people's concerns about that. But like you said, if I was the Dolphins, I treat this as like a redshirt year. New England just kind of is out of the picture. So this is kind of let the Bills have a moment, feel good about themselves, and then like come back the next year and like compete for the division.
No, I totally agree. And I mean, look, I don't know what the Patriots are doing. I don't, they have something going on.
For Trevor.
I guess. I mean, I actually would prefer that over Trevor going to Jacksonville. Obviously not as a Dolphins fan, but I certainly have no interest.
Is a Jaguars fan. Now he's like, I'm off. Like, I'm done. I'm off the bandwagon. I have no clue what they're doing at all, because
they're tanking. They're tanking. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we should all start to mentally prepare ourselves to watch Jacksonville games, because Trevor Lawrence is going to be the #1 overall pick. 100%, and Jacksonville's 100% going to be the worst team in the league.
Close. Like, that's the thing. It's like, why?
That's what bothers me, because I have no interest in watching Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. I have no interest in it. Just about how I have no interest in watching Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, but I'm going to do it because I think that Joe Burrow is that great. So, like, if Trevor Lawrence goes to Jacksonville, I'm going to have to watch Jacksonville games with Trevor Lawrence there. Like, that's what it is. But yeah, I would love to see these guys go somewhere where they actually have, you know, a system and a base culture in which to build on, which I don't think exists in Cincinnati. And look, you can make the arguments about Cincinnati making it to the playoffs more than the Dolphins have in the past 20 years or whatever. Like, that's cute. Y'all didn't do nothing in the playoffs. So
one and done. They're like a college basketball.
And now the guy that got you there is on your bench because you just drafted Joe Burrow #1 overall. But yeah, I mean, it's a redshirt year for Tua. I don't think he's fragile though. I don't think that. I think that his injuries,
he has some really bad injuries.
Right, but his injuries have come. The thing that concerns me is not that he is fragile, because I don't think that he is. I think he's actually very tough. I think that he holds on to the ball too long, and he's not as elusive as he thinks he is. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be a problem, because at the next level, they're bigger and faster, and they're smarter.
Quicker.
They know where you're going. They study this tape. They see what your tendencies are. That's why Baker was having so much trouble this year, because he keeps rolling out and back. They know where you're going. As soon as the pocket collapses, off you go, right there. I can put just like a laser beam on where you're going. So that's what concerns me. If you break that habit, which I think that they will, then he's going to have a great career. That's really what it is. Certain people just get injured all the time. I'm not going to say who they are, but they're just a little fragile, you know, like and they're getting hurt on plays that are normal plays. I don't think Tua gets hurt on normal plays. I think he tries to do everything. He's doing too much. Yeah. So that, if he can get rid of that at the next level, then I feel good about him not getting injured again.
So just briefly, what did you think about Philly taking Jalen, and then the Packers pulling a Brett Favre Part 2 and taking a quarterback instead of like a receiver or somebody else?
Well, so Jalen Hurts, I was really surprised they took him. But then the more I thought about it, it does make sense, because, I mean, he's always hurt. Wentz is always hurt. He's, you know, like, you got to be available. And I mean, I had a lot of respect for what Wentz did last year, losing all those players and playing with practice squad guys. Like, he really earned my respect last year, but he's got to stay healthy. So then bringing in Jalen is not a surprise. They got to develop somebody who's ready to go in, Drew Brees-esque, you know, with Teddy Bridgewater situation. Not that Drew Brees is fragile at all, but, you know, that situation, you had a guy ready to go. So drafting Jalen Hurts makes sense. Now, Jordan Love is a different situation. I don't think I love it. I don't. And it's not about like liking Aaron Rodgers or whatever. I just think it's too high.
Yeah.
I think they took him too high. Like, you were in the NFC Championship game this year. What do you,
I don't care. Good taste in your mouth. That's like when, like, a couple years ago when the Redskins took RG3 and then took Kirk in the 4th. It's like,
no, see, that's that was smart. And that actually worked out very well for Washington
but
because RG3 got hurt and Kirk Cousins saved their lives. So that situation worked out fine. The Jordan Love situation to me doesn't make any sense because people keep comparing, like, obviously they're going to make the comparison. Oh, Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, that's what happened at the same time. No, Brett Favre threw 20 touchdowns and 29 interceptions, and they were 4-12 the year that they took Aaron Rodgers. That makes sense. You put up those numbers, you should take a quarterback. It's probably getting around that time. That's not very good, as great as Brett Favre is, okay? But that's what the situation was. Green Bay was in the NFC Championship game last year. They were 13-3. You don't need a quarterback right now. I don't want to hear anything about developing a quarterback. Get him in the 3rd or 4th round then, if that's what you want to do. You take a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round, I'm okay with that. But the first rounds, it's too high. You need pieces. Like, how's that going to help you against San Francisco?
Yeah.
So to me, and they won't draft wide receivers. They won't draft wide receivers. Why? Why don't you draft a wide receiver? Why? What are you doing? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. So
they want Devontae Adams to do it all.
I mean, that to me is what I didn't like about it. Like, I get it. You want to, build for the future, but it's too high of a pick to spend on a quarterback that it's a project anyway. Like, you were too good last year to be doing that right now. So, and to compare it to the Brett Favre situation, like, it's just removing all context of what happened the year before they drafted Aaron Rodgers and what happened this year. They're not the same thing. It's just because it's Green Bay.
True. Okay, so last football-related question. Tom Brady, Tampa, he's got Gronk now, got a lineman for him. How are you feeling about Tampa out here in these streets?
Tampa's very interesting. So the thing about Tampa is, you got to remember they're adding an extra wild card team.
Yeah.
So that changes the dynamic changes everything, right? Because while I thought they were going to be a wild card team this year, now I'm for sure they're making the playoffs. They have great weapons. Their defense is good to great already. They just added Gronk, who is not. People keep thinking like, oh, like Gronk, he's not what he was before. Like, he doesn't need to be what he was before. Gronk is there for 2 things. One, to make Tom Brady comfortable. He's a guy that's going to, like, lubricate the locker room. He's going to come in with good energy, to do his Gronk stuff, explain to everybody how Tom likes things. Don't do this. Tom is a personality guy too. Yeah, he's a Tom whisperer. And he's a completely opposite personality of Tom, and they love each other. So he's the perfect guy to bring in with Tom. Tom and him are always on the same page. He knows what Tom likes. He's going to be a huge help as far as just the team chemistry and making Tom feel comfortable and just being someone that Tom can rely on, right? But he's also going to be big in clutch moments. Gronk is a very smart football player. Stop imagining him dragging 7 people down the field. That's not what he's there to do. That's not what he did his last year in New England. He was a blocking tight end, and he was there in a couple big moments that they needed him. And that's what he's there to do. 1 year, $10 million, make some money, play with Brady your last year out and have some fun. But I also think he's going to be crucial for those 2 reasons. But the Gronk thing is not what's going to, take them over the edge. It's the fact that they were right there anyway. And Jameis Winston threw 350,000 interceptions and 12,000 fumbles. Like,
he's the real 30 for 30.
Right. I mean, his numbers were absurd when it comes to turning the ball over. That's not going to happen this year. So that alone is like 42 points, for the other teams erased, because Tom's not going to have 6 pick sixes. It's just not going to happen. It's not how he plays the game. So yeah, he's already going to win the divorce temporarily. Yeah. And I think if he can win 1 or 2 playoff games, because I'm telling you, I do not. I love Bill Belichick, right? Like, he's the hoodie. He's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, to ever coach NFL football. I don't think he's going to win another championship. And if Brady not
the way the current roster is set up.
Look, I could be wrong. They could get the next guy and make me eat my words. But if they don't get the next guy,
Tom Brady is definitely having the glow up after the break.
I don't want to hear about the Matt Castle year. Stop talking to me about the Matt Castle year. Stop talking to me about it. I don't want to hear it. It's so silly. Like, you're gonna trot Jarrett Stidham out there, and you're gonna make it to the AFC Championship game by some miracle, and then you think you're gonna beat Kansas City? You think? What are you doing? That's what's gonna happen? Is what you're trying to tell me? Like, it's
so
delusional.
funny. My dad, literally, me and my dad had like this huge argument, and literally he said the exact same thing. He's like, I don't see this. It's not gonna happen. Bill, the ego, no. But what I like about Tampa is I've always kind of liked Tampa a little bit, and I think what's going to be cool about the Gronk situation is in New England it was like you knew it was like Gronk or Edelman. Now it's like he actually has other viable weapons, so it's
Right.
like you can't just double Gronk. Like you have to account. Like Mike Evans is I don't think Mike Evans gets the fair shake that he deserves. He's a really like go out there, get it done, kind of goes home, does his thing. But like I think Mike Evans is really slightly underrated. I don't think he gets mentioned in the top tier conversations, but I'm excited. And shoot, I want to see Brady. Maybe he'll get a grill. Maybe he'll get some cornrows during the quarantine. Giselle will be out there, you know.
I mean, he's going to be a different guy for sure. Like it's there's no way he's not going to be, because it's just a totally different environment, and it's not just going to turn into New England. And I don't think he wants to. I think he's going to bring some, New England-esque qualities to Buccaneers culture. But yeah, I mean, if nothing else, it's going to be super interesting. But I think short term and long term, he's going to end up winning this divorce. And that doesn't take anything away from what they did. Doesn't eliminate the dynasty. It doesn't discredit any of their championships. They won them. They won them together. They are the greatest, and like no one can ever take that away from them or change that. And they both needed each other, because Brady only plays one side of the ball. They've had amazing defenses and incredible Hall of Fame players on that side of the ball that Belichick made happen. But when we look back on it, similar to the way that we're looking back on Jordan's career, who was it that really put them over the edge? Like, really did it? We know it was Jordan. Like, Phil Jackson obviously is probably the greatest NBA coach of all time. Went on to win, 5 more championships after that, with a pretty great player in Kobe. Okay, but that's not going to be how this plays out. Like, Belichick's not going to go on to win another 6 championships. Not that he needs to, but I just think that we're going to look back on, when we look back on the Bulls dynasty, who was it? It was Michael. Like, Phil was great, but he was great with Doug Collins. He didn't start winning until, some things changed. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting how we look back on that.
I think it's gonna be hard too to find, especially in today's day and age. You're not gonna find a player that would go with as much sacrifice as Tom Brady did for the Patriots. Like, today people are like, no, you're gonna pay me, I'm gonna be the star. And I just think it's a different league now, where it's like, yeah, you respect Bill, but people they want their coin these days. And like, the Patriots have been so good because they make people take discounts. And I think going forward, because you don't have Tom and he's not taking the discount, no discount, double check. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying this whole time. I think that the Patriots way, the Spurs way are great concepts and cultures to have. And they do produce dynasties. But they only work if you have all-time greats who buy in completely to your messaging and culture and style. And that takes a very, very unique personality. Tom Brady is married to Gisele Bundchen, who is worth $300 million. Okay? So, and I understand he was taking pay cuts before that, but it's real easy to keep doing that. Okay, you can't. Everyone's all like, "Oh, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it." What are you talking about? They're married. Okay, so yes, that is a factor. Don't disrespect everybody else who doesn't make hasn't have a $300 million fortune, asking them to take pay cuts. Okay. True. And it's a whole different generation now. All right. It's a whole different thing. Tom Brady was taken in the 6th round. That bothered him. It still bothers him to this day. It's a chip like this on his shoulder everywhere he goes. It motivates him. It's his driving, like, force energy. What happens if you take a guy in the late 1st round? Well, he's a 1st rounder. Maybe he doesn't feel that way. Maybe he has a little bit of money. Maybe he has a little Instagram following.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't like yoga and avocado ice cream. There's a lot of things that like had to be in Tom to make that all work. So does that style still work if you can't find someone and maybe you find someone who buys in, but they're not that good?
True. Yeah, because it's like that's going to be really hard to find both. So I mean, somebody that buys in, and then somebody that's I just think like that type of talent, that type of, because also too, you have to have the perfect storm to cultivate that too, where it's like you're the 199 pick. You were like at the beginning of the year, like 3-4 down in the roster, and then you get your chance and you're like, I'm never giving it up. So it's like to cultivate that situation again, to get that chip is going to be really hard. So, but with you though, I want to say you are like first team all broadcast out here. Like I'm like every time I turn on, I'm like Joy is. I said, you know, you can go like one or two ways in quarantine. Like you can be chilling and getting your mind right, but I'm like Joy is in her bag out here. I'm like, we see caffeine. You're doing lives. Like tell like your YouTube. What's some of the stuff you've been working on during quarantine?
I mean, I think you covered everything with the podcast. No, I'm just trying to stay busy, you know. I think idle mind is a devil's playground, right? Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's very easy to just get kind of sluggish and get in the valley of all of this. And it's, look, like I'm having bad days just like everybody else. Of course, it's a lot to deal with, but you know, I'm very lucky and very blessed. I still have work and still able to do work every day, which keeps my routine basically the exact same. Like I said earlier, I mean, I'm not going into the studio, but I'm still, you know, doing a show. I have the lights up and camera and the, you know, in my apartment. And yeah, I don't want to, I want to take advantage of this time. It's weirdly, I didn't go through quarantine, but when I first came to Fox 4 years ago, I had just come from Miami doing a 4-hour drive time morning radio show. Mm-hmm. For years. I had done morning radio for years. And then I came to LA where I knew no humans and I wasn't working. I was being paid, obviously, like I had a job, but the show hadn't launched yet. So I was hired by Fox, and then the only thing I did was fill in on The Herd every once in a while. And then eventually I had a Saturday morning radio show for 2 hours. So during the week, I had nothing to do, literally nothing to do. I would randomly have a meeting here and there, but I would just have an insane amount of downtime where I was, you know, not worried about money, but like I did not have anything to do. Yeah. And it was just it was not a good space to be in, you know, being somebody that like loves what I do and is used to doing it and working every day and doing much more than just, you know, the radio show. I was also working for CBSSports.com. You know, I was also hosting events. Like I was very busy to doing nothing. And I didn't want to go back to that mental space that I was in when that was going on. Because I really didn't have it. I was sat in the house all day and really, like I'd go to the gym, you know, but I had nothing to do. And I didn't have anyone to hang out with. So it's not like I was in quarantine, obviously, but I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't going out. I wasn't doing anything. So I had no routine. And that was just not a mental space I wanted to go back to. So I just kind of looked at this time like, you know what, this is a temporary situation, obviously very bad situation for everyone, but it's temporary and I'm just going to use it to the best of my abilities. And when it's over, I'll hopefully be in a better space, or at least the very least the same space I was in when I came into the situation. So that's how I looked at it. I mean, I always said, like, if I go back to that space again, like I have all this time on my hands, I'm going to like learn another language, or I'm going to get in like the best shape of my life or something, you know. I'm not going to just sit around and let myself watch TV all day, which is what I did before. So yeah.
No, that's good. Like, I think the biggest thing that I've really like come away with in this time is like just kind of, because I do think when you're very passionate about what you do for work, you can get so consumed with it and it becomes your life. And I think like, especially in the sports space, everybody's kind of had to take a step back and like, as much as I love this and as much passion as I have, what really drives me? Like, what are my real internal motivators? And so like, for me, I've just been focusing on that and just really being grateful. Like, I've been so grateful in this time because, you know, as bad as quarantine is, and yes, we're all stuck in the house, it's like most of us are in pretty cushy environments. So it's like to be stuck in that type of environment, I just try to like keep the perspective of it.
Yeah, I agree. But being grateful is a big thing that will help you stay positive through all this. I'm very grateful. I'm grateful for my job. I'm grateful to have something to do every day. So I'm not, sitting around trying to find ways to fill my time. It's kept me feeling very normal in a very bizarre, experience that none of us have ever had before. Yeah. And, I'm healthy and I don't have anything to complain about. Like I got to stay home, and obviously we all, go through our moments, like we said, but yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to stay focused. So I have caffeine on Wednesdays. So go download the caffeine app. Joy Chats at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on Wednesdays. And it's a live show, and there's lots of other live shows on there as well. And then I still have the podcast, which will drop tomorrow night, Maybe I'm Crazy Podcast. And of course, noon to 3, weekdays on FS1.
Joy, I am so grateful for y'all. Y'all don't understand. I was in a clutch, and I was like, Joy. She was like, I got you, girl. And I was like, I love you, Joy. No, I seriously, like, I always say this, but because Joy's mad humble, y'all, but Joy is like one of the best, most reliable, like, big sisters you could ever ask for. And like, I seriously appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I'm getting emotional, but like, I really appreciate everything like you've done for me behind the scenes, everything. Like I truly appreciate it.
No problem, babe. I got you.
All right. Well, we got some more Last Dance next week. I've been watching like 90 Day Fiance. I think we're all past the Tiger King era.
Yeah, we've moved past the Tiger King phase for sure.
Do you think Carol killed her husband?
I mean, allegedly, I don't know, but I think we're going to find out there's something going on there. Something weird for sure. They're all the same. She does the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. Carol was really the G of the situation. I was like, how do you convince
for real? She's the biggest gangster. She's the biggest gangster for sure.
I was like, I ain't mad at you, Carol. I ain't mad at you.
I am. She's crazy.
I really do want to see the Tiger King movie, though. That's what I want to see. Like, the actual movie, that'll be good.
They're going to do it. They're going to make the most out of that situation for sure.
No, they will. Joy, thank you so much. Make sure y'all check out Joy Chat, her Maybe I'm Crazy podcast. We appreciate you coming on, talking Last Dance, talking football, and just being a joy. Jopra.
Thanks, babe. Love you. Stay safe, okay?
Bye, you guys.
Bye.